Welcome into Bills by the Numbers, where we let the stats tell you where the Bills are at. We're presented by FanDuel. Make every moment more. Coming up, the ESPN Football Power Index has Buffalo in some interesting spots in terms of projected record and odds to win the Super Bowl. We'll investigate. Is it premature to dismiss the AFC East race? Steve is quizzed on Bills playoff history, and we'll have our one burning question. We have officially reached crunch time. Decision joining us here on Bills by the Numbers. He is Bills Hall of Famer Steve Tasker. I'm Bills play-by-play man Chris Brown. And down the stretch we come here in the 2025 regular season. 4 games to play in a gigantic head-to-head matchup with the AFC East division leader, the Patriots, in New England. Buffalo, 2 games back of New England with the Week 15 game in Foxborough and 3 to play after that. Before we get to the division race, Steve, we want to share what the ESPN Football Power Index thinks of the current NFL landscape. It has the Rams atop the Power Index as the strongest team with a month left in the season. After that, believe it or not, are the Chiefs, Packers, Lions, Seahawks to round out the top 5. Buffalo comes in at 7th. We should note Buffalo is the top-ranked AFC team currently in a playoff position. When it comes to projections for the rest of the slate, the team expected to finish with the best record is New England at 13-4, followed by Denver, the Rams, Seattle, and the Bills. Buffalo projected at about 12-5. It's like 11.7 and 5 point whatever. If that projection plays out, Buffalo would be the top wild card seed, and they would go to Pittsburgh, who are projected to win the division in the AFC North at 9-8. Thoughts on that possible matchup, Steve?
I'm okay with it.
I like it.
Yeah. We match up well with them. They'll have a chip on their shoulder because of the way the Bills handled them in their building the last time. 249 rushing yards. They're going to come out with a chip on their shoulder, and I would anticipate that being a really physical attitude game. But the Bills are the better team, and you got to go in thinking that and believing it.
Yeah. ESPN Analytics gives the Bills a 97% chance to make the playoffs as they prepare for their Week 15 matchup with the Patriots. They give them just a 19.5% chance to win the division, which seems higher than we initially seen projected.
As low as it is, it seems high.
Yeah, we've calculated that if the Bills win their last 4 games, including Sunday at New England, obviously, and the Patriots lose one other game to a division opponent, either the Jets in Week 17 or the Dolphins in Week 18, Buffalo could win their 6th straight division title. The other scenario is if the Patriots lose 3 of their last 4, Buffalo could go 3-1 in their final 4 games, provided one of those wins being against the Patriots, and still win the division. So it's possible, but probably unlikely, knowing New England has won 10 in a row coming into this weekend. But should the division title hopes be shelved, Steve?
I would say yes, only because of it. Not that it couldn't happen, but because you've got bigger fish to fry around. You got to win this game. Your goals have shrunken from winning the Super Bowl, winning the AFC Championship, division, all that, down to it's game by game, because now a large measure of what you need to happen is out of your control. So you can't think about it. You got to win this game. And then reevaluate after everybody else in the league settles in their win-loss column. It's about tomorrow and then the next day. So you stop thinking about the division title unless you had a chance to sew it up, so to speak. Right now, you've got to continue to stack wins because of the landscape. Everyone is so close at the top of the AFC conference. Right. You can't get caught up in stuff you can't control. And right now, the division's out of your control.
Yeah, and that's the rub, right? Because I think the general consensus is the Bills just have to keep on winning. Pick your head up at the end and see where you are. There's a very good, it's like a 97% chance you're going to the playoffs. So that much is known, but you have to keep winning to ensure that. And then secondarily, you can think about, okay, has New England slipped up, a couple of weeks from now, whatever? Have they slipped up? Is the door open now? You can worry about that then, But more importantly, the wild card race is tightly packed as well. So you still control your own destiny in that aspect, and because of that, you have to keep winning. I mean, that's priority one right now. Just keep on winning and hope it's good enough to, if not win the division, be the top wild card seed and play the weakest division winner. So we'll have to see what happens. It's interesting, though, because Coach McDermott has said in the past, with respect to the playoffs, win your division first, because that guarantees you a home playoff game. Obviously, that has fallen out of their control, to your point, Steve.
Right.
I don't know that winning the division should be dismissed, especially if they win this week, to delay a division title for New England. Because if New England wins, it's over. They win the division. But I got to believe there's a little added motivation this week to not let that be a hat and T-shirt game for the Patriots.
Sure. But yeah, secondarily, you got to win. Period. If you
got to
lose,
win anyway.
If you lose, you may be the 7 seed this week, and you're playing the best one of the best pass rushes in the league next week, and you got the world champions the week after that. You have to win.
Yeah,
you have to win, and that's whether it was the division title or the Patriots or not. You'd still have to. This is a game too, where you've seen this team once this year. They're a little bit of a different team now than they were in Week 5, as are the Bills. So it's going to be a little bit different matchup, completely different venue, obviously, as well. Yeah, if you want to have any semblance of having some control over your own destiny, you got to win.
ESPN Analytics has the Bills with the third best odds to make the divisional playoff at 54.5%, behind only Denver and New England on the AFC side of the ledger, and the third best odds to make the AFC title game, again, behind Denver and New England. But it's not by much. Denver with a 40% chance to reach the AFC Championship. New England with a 34% chance, followed by Buffalo at 30%. Knowing the Bills in one of those scenarios is probably playing at Denver or at New England, do you have a preference? Because there is the argument about how hard it is to play a team the third time, namely New England.
Yeah, I might rather go on the road to Denver rather than New England again. Playing a team for the third time is difficult. And Denver hasn't seen this team, and they haven't played against a quarterback like this one.
Well, not since last year's wild card playoff.
Right. So they'd be up against it would be different for them. This run game, Denver's defense is very good.
Right.
But playing out in Denver, to be very honest, I think the weather would be better in Denver than it would be in New England. They get 330 days of sunshine in Denver. It'd be altitude, but their sports science, will take care of that. I like the Denver matchup better. Bo Nix is not in the MVP race. Drake May is.
That's what was going to be the difference maker for me. Bo Nix has had trouble putting points on the board for his offense on a consistent basis. There might be some weeks where they make enough plays and they score 24, 27 points, but there are other weeks where they're barely and struggling to get to 20, and their defense has bailed them out because it's so good at keeping opponents off the scoreboard. I think I would be inclined to take that. Not only that, Denver's defense, if there is a soft underbelly, they have been victimized to a great degree by backs and tight ends in the passing game. And with the evolution of Buffalo's offense here down the stretch and seeing backs and tight ends playing more prominent roles in Buffalo's passing game, I kind of like that matchup a little bit better than I would playing New England a third time this season. As for odds to make the Super Bowl, ESPN Analytics has Buffalo with the second best odds to reach the ultimate game in the AFC, behind only Denver, which is at 22%. Buffalo at 16.5% to reach the Super Bowl. What do you make of seeing them rated there?
A little surprised. There's been some conversation now with if Lamar Jackson, Pat Mahomes, and Joe Burrow are out of the playoffs, you'll have the best player in the tournament. But Buffalo always does. There's only 3 games this year. You could have even a conversation about whether the guy's as good as the guy you've got. It's Mahomes, it's Burrow, and it's Lamar Jackson, and he went 3-0 against him. But as we've seen in the playoffs, having the best player isn't always the trump card.
Yeah.
You've got to have more than just one guy. Even if it is the quarterback, you got to have more guys helping him. You got to have more guys that make plays. You got to have more guys that are elevating. But having said that, yeah, I get why they like Buffalo, and it's because of the guy taking snaps. And secondarily, they can run the ball. So it's hard to bet against teams like that, particularly a team that's proven over the course of a long season that it is consistent, and unless you keep a lid on it, it will get you. And the Bills have done it.
I think part of the reason they're rated this high is because some of those other elite quarterbacks, it's looking more and more like they're not going to be in the tournament. And because of the drop-off from Josh to the other quarterbacks that will be in on the AFC side of the ledger, I think that's why the analytics people have this number for Buffalo to make the Super Bowl at 16.5%. That's higher than I can remember it being in previous years. Last year, when they were 13-4, it wasn't that high. Right. But it's because there were other teams like the Chiefs in the tournament. So it's really interesting to see that number as high as it is, and I wonder if it's because some of those other teams we're used to seeing in the postseason may not be there.
We still have 4 games to play as well. So
yes,
at this
there's
point,
a lot to.
At this point, last season, at that point, Joe Burrow looked like he was going to make a run at the playoffs, right? So, yeah, it's a different atmosphere, and it may change twice over the next 4 weeks.
When it comes to winning the Super Bowl, Buffalo again has the second best odds among AFC teams, again behind Denver. Broncos are given a 10% chance, Bills an 8% chance. The NFC teams, though, in terms of odds, are way ahead. Rams at 18.1%, Packers at 9.6%, Seahawks at 8.8%. How hard is it to see that far down the road, knowing how much has to happen between now and then? Yeah, I mean, projections are nice.
Projections are nice, but the difference is that the Broncos and the Bills have more significant flaws than apparently the Seahawks and the Rams and the Packers do. All of those teams, Rams, Packers, Seahawks, have defenses that are playing at a higher level than Buffalo's is. And their offenses, the Seahawks, Packers, and Rams, are playing better than the Broncos' offense. So those 3 NFC teams seem more well-rounded than either the Bills or the Broncos at this point. And at this point, I don't know why, but at this point, I don't know, perhaps it's because of their weak schedule they played, nobody has that much faith in the New England Patriots to overcome a really good team. So I think I see why, the NFC teams are given the edge there by far. It's because they're more well-rounded, and those teams have been tested more often than the Patriots, the Broncos. Patriots or the Broncos.
Yeah, I do find it interesting. I almost feel like there has been a little bit of a power shift between the conferences. The NFC used to be the team with 1, 2, maybe 3 teams that could realistically get to the Super Bowl. And really, when you kind of got down to brass tacks, you could only see 1 or 2 maybe. And now I think there's 3 or 4 players that could legitimately make the Super Bowl on the NFC side, and all of them might be stronger than whoever represents the AFC, because it seems as though the AFC teams, even some of the best ones in terms of record, have some flaws that could cost them in the ultimate game. So just 2 years ago, the AFC was the power conference by far, and I think we're seeing a shift to some degree, and that's what makes it interesting to see the Bills as the current 6th seed in the AFC playoff picture with some of the best odds among AFC clubs to win the whole enchilada. Does it illustrate to you how wide open the AFC seems to be this year?
Yeah, you've got and Buffalo is probably as big a culprit of this as anybody. They dropped some games they shouldn't have dropped, most notably to the Miami Dolphins and the New England Patriots. They turned it over 3 times of their own volition against the Patriots. Keon just drops it inside the 15-yard line of the Bills. It takes away an opportunity for Josh Allen and the offense to move it, and also gives points right away to the Patriots, which they take advantage of. In the game, they win in a last-second field goal. That kind of stuff happens. In Miami, the Bills go down and absolutely show up flat. Did not play well, and didn't even look like the same team, and lost by double digits to a bad Dolphins team, or at least at that moment they were bad.
Yeah.
So that's why the AFC is wide open. You've got teams like Buffalo who just can't get it together on a week-to-week basis, save the New England Patriots.
Yeah.
And I still believe there's some narrative out there that Drake May is a beneficiary of a Josh McDaniels' ability to manipulate an offense from the bench with at least a passable.
He's giving him as much pre-snap information as possible.
So Josh McDaniels deserves as much credit as the success of Drake May as Drake May does. Well, in that narrative, so they're not giving Drake May the credit for carrying that team with solid play as they are other teams. So you chop off the Patriots, you chop off Josh Allen and the Bills because they're too inconsistent. That drops everybody down because the Baltimore Ravens are nowhere to be found. The Kansas City Chiefs are nowhere to be found. Yeah, it's a wash.
They're more inconsistent than the Bills are, those two teams.
So you look at the conference and all the most notable teams that had huge expectations at the beginning of the season, and they're riding roller coasters. It's easy to see that the more consistent and well-rounded teams are in the NFC this year, even if their quarterbacks aren't as good, with the exception of Matt Stafford.
Yeah, who is probably the leader in the clubhouse for NFL MVP. We turn our attention now to the numbers game, where Steve will be quizzed on Bills playoff history. Let's do it. Question number 1. There are 3 Bills players who hold the record for most interceptions in a playoff game. 2 of them were your teammates. Can you name 2 of those 3 Bills players?
Mark Kelso.
It is not Mark Kelso.
Henry Jones.
It is not Henry Jones.
Nate Odoms.
No on Nate.
Oh, I have no idea then. Come on.
It's 2 interceptions. That's the record in a single playoff game. Then you think of 2 teammates who had 2 interceptions in a playoff game.
Cornelius Bennett.
Nope.
It's not Henry Jones.
Let's pull out a roster.
Yeah.
I thought this was going to be a layup.
Jeff Burris.
Not Jeff Burris. So I'll give you the non-teammate of yours, which I didn't expect you to get because I wouldn't have gotten it either. Bill Simpson in 1981 against the Jets. The other one was in 1990.
Hold on.
Against the Raiders.
Oh, Darryl Talley.
Darryl Talley, who had 2 picks there. And the other one was in 1992 against the Chiefs.
John Hagee.
It was Kirby Jackson.
Oh!
Who had 2.
I wouldn't have gotten Kirby. Good for him, though.
Good for him. Question number 2. Who has the longest run from scrimmage in team playoff history?
Josh Allen.
That is correct. It is Josh Allen.
52 yards against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Brownie and I have been having the conversation. Everybody was saying, yeah, Josh's 40-yard touchdown is the longest of his career. And we're like, oh, no, it's not.
Longest in the regular season.
Longest in the regular season, but that's not his career. So shut up with that. Come on, get it right.
Question number 3. Who has the most touchdown receptions in a playoff game in team playoff history for the Bills?
Andre Reed.
That is incorrect.
Really?
He had 3 in the comeback game, but someone's done him 1 better.
Stevie Johnson?
Not Stevie Johnson. He never made the playoffs. Poor guy.
Eric Moulds.
Not Eric Moulds, although he has the record for most receiving yards in a playoff game with 240 against Miami in a 99 wild card game.
James Lofton.
Not James Lofton. It's more recent than that, Steve.
Oh, Gabe Davis, of course.
Gabe Davis, 4 against the Chiefs in 2021.
That was dumb.
I
should have got that.
Don't beat yourself up.
I should have got that.
And question number 4. Who has the longest kick return in a playoff game in Bills team history?
Me.
That is correct.
Yes.
It's you.
Yes.
67 yards against the Raiders.
That I didn't score on.
In 1994.
Guy pushed me on. Oh, that's too bad.
Willie called.
If I could get reach the ball out, I could have. Yeah. All right.
Well, I'm glad you got that one. I would have been a little worried.
That might have been catastrophic.
Get that one.
I'd never get into that one. That would have been you'd have had to come up with a new buzzer for that one.
Yeah, it would have been. I think it might have just been that old trumpet.
Womp womp.
Or a womp womp. Bills fans, get in on the action with FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Just download the app today to play any way you want. Plus, with live betting, you'll get updated odds on games that have already started. Best of all, you get paid your winnings fast. Make every moment more with FanDuel, official sportsbook partner of the Buffalo Bills. Time now for our one burning question. We've seen the Bills' passing game struggle to get major production from their receivers this season, but we have seen some big games of late in the passing attack from the backs and tight ends. Could making consistent use of them in the passing game make Buffalo a more well-rounded offense down the stretch and into the playoffs?
Well, absolutely. If you've got a group of – if that's where you want to focus your passing game and you become good at it, be good at it. Go. Teams are going to have to contend with it. They'll come up with new ways and different ways to combat it, and you'll have to have answers, but they have to have answers for you. If you're good at it, that's what – add it to the recipe. You've got to use it to win games. And if having Hawes, Knox, and Kincaid on the field a lot more with two backs, one back, whatever the combination it is, you got to do it. And this last game certainly showed that if you do have a deficiency in covering a certain element of an offense, they've got the horses to take advantage of it. So, yeah, absolutely. And I don't have a problem with it at all.
No.
It doesn't make you less of a good offense. It doesn't make nothing. It doesn't say anything about your ability to win games. It's just different.
I would like to see – now, what happened last week happened against a defense that has given up more production to tight ends than any other team in the league. But the backs were involved too. You know, you had the leak-out pass to Cook that went up the sideline, set up first and goal. And there was another one down the right sideline that unfortunately came back on a penalty. But all that being said, I want to see how that approach works against a better defense, like New England this weekend, for example. Can you have the same tight end / running back success in the passing game against a defense that's, you know, a high-quality unit like the Patriots, similar to what you saw last week against the Bengals? They did it against a bad defense. Now let's see if it's fruitful against a better, more well-rounded defense.
I'll say that it certainly lured the Bills into giving it a try. I don't know that there are other teams who have tight ends that are as productive as Knox, Kincaid, and Hawes.
Or versatile.
And both in the run and the pass.
Right.
So, yeah, I'm saying let's flesh that part of our offense out a little bit, see if we can get some more production out of it, and either splitting those guys out and going in, running the football out of a condensed formation, or then when they start to go heavy, spread them out and match their defensive personnel with a little bit more of a spread formation if they go heavy.
Our closing figure deals with touchdown production in the passing game to dovetail off the topic we were just discussing. Shakir, Coleman, and Shavers have accounted for 9 receiving touchdowns this season. Dalton Kincaid, Dawson Knox, Jackson Hawes have also accounted for 9 receiving touchdowns this season. And when you compare those 3 receivers to Buffalo's 3 tight ends, the Bills' tight ends have scored the same number of touchdowns on 35 fewer receptions. 105 catches for the 3 receivers, just 70 for the tight ends. It makes you wonder where Buffalo's highest scoring efficiency might lie going forward. Something to think about.
It is, but I'll say this. It's a function, too, of their ability to move the football on the ground efficiently with the running game and stay on the field. Their time of possession is still a thing. They still possess the ball a ton, and they get down into the red zone a bunch, and that means big targets, tight windows. We saw it this last week, two touchdowns to the tight ends, Hawes and Kincaid. Tight ends are hard to handle down there for smaller DBs. So it makes a lot of sense that when they get down there, they're thrown to the big guys.
That'll do it for this episode. Be sure to subscribe on whatever podcast platform you use so you know when our next episode is released. Or watch us on the Bills YouTube channel, because when you need to know about the Bills, you need to check Bills by the Numbers. For Steve Tasker, I'm Chris Brown. Thanks for listening. We'll catch you next time, everybody.